Question number 8. Could the WWF had had their initial success without Hulk Hogan? Why or why not? I wasn't watching wrestling around this time, so I really don't know if my answer would be credible. I'm going to say that yes, they would have been successful without Hulk Hogan. Vince would have found somebody to wrap that company around. It could have been anybody. You know, if you go back and look at Hulk Hogan's promos, they weren't the best. You know, it was always over the top and, you know, take your vitamins and all my Hulkamaniacs, you know. Kids bought into that, but if something's packaged perfectly, kids will buy into it anyway. I'm sorry if you're a big Hulk Hogan fan, but it's the truth. Question number 9 is, could the WWF have been more financially successful in the post-Hogan, pre-Austin time period with different people on top? Why or why not? Like I said, I wasn't watching it this time, so I don't know if my answers are that credible. I went to Online World of Wrestling to get a sense of who was on the roster after Hogan left, and I believe you're talking about 94. It looks like they had a lot of talent in their main event picture, but their mid-card to low-card looks horribly abysmal. So in answer to your question, no. I don't think the top talent was the problem with WWF being financially unsuccessful. I think that's what happens when you fill your mid to low card with cartoon characters. Question number 10. Who do you think was a bigger star at their peak? Hulk Hogan or Steve Austin? That's a tough question, but I'm going to go with Steve Austin. He had better matches, he had more memorable matches, and he had really memorable moments. You know, Hogan had really good matches as well, but Austin outshines him every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Question number 11. What do you think is Vince McMahon's greatest accomplishment as a promoter? I'd probably say setting the bar for what a wrestling company should be. My one concern is that the bar may be set too high now, and no company will ever go over it. Question number 12. What do you think was the greatest contributing factor to WCW overtaking the WWF from 1995 to 1998? I think it's obvious the signing of Hogan, then the Outsiders coming in, and then Hogan joining them and becoming the NWO. I think wrestling fans at that time, it was just something new, it was something innovative, and it was something people hadn't seen before. Question number 13 is, what do you think was the greatest contributing factor to the WWF overtaking WCW in 1998? I think the whole Austin Vince McMahon angle helped that out very much. And I think around that time, WCW was starting to get stale. They kept the same people at the top of the ladder and didn't allow any of the people on the bottom rungs to move up. I also think that the top WCW talent were too full of themselves. They didn't want to get any of the younger stars over. You know, they were clutching at their own spot in this company because they were afraid they were going to lose that spot, and then what were they going to do? I think the fans picked up on that and decided to go back over to the WWF because new things were happening over there. There were new stars coming in, and just like WCW, anything could happen. Question number 14 is, what WWE World Champion was the best in terms of ring work and why? I'm going to say Chris Jericho. You know, it's a fucking crime that he only had one world title reign from 1999 to when he left in 2005. That is just sick. How can you have such a brilliant wrestler as Chris Jericho not in the main event, or at least coming close and then falling short? He deserved a lot more during that time. He's had a couple title reigns since he's returned, but I don't think he has the main event status that he certainly deserves. Question number 15. Which WWE World Champion do you think meant most to the company? That's a no-brainer. It's obviously Steve Austin. He was the one that basically saved WWF back in the late 90s. Question number 16. Which WWE World Champion had the worst run? Vincent Kennedy McMahon. The company owner should never put the title on themselves. It just shows how conceited, self-serving, and full of themselves they truly are. I'm also looking at you, Jeff Jarrett. Question number 17. What do you consider the high point in WWF or WWE history? My favorite year was 2004. Benoit and Guerrero were champions. On SmackDown, you had a really great cruiserweight division, and it just seemed like things were going in a better direction. Unfortunately, 2005 proved me wrong, but what can you do? Question number 18. What do you consider the absolute low point in WWF or WWE history? Probably say 1999. The storylines were pretty bad. I really wasn't interested in a lot that was going on. It seemed like that year was more about Vince McMahon than any other year. And honestly, I don't mind watching my boss get beat up, but I don't want to see him on TV all the time, and that's what happened during 99. In fact, I came in right around that time, started watching WWF. The only real reason why I kept watching were the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys were soon there. Question number 19. Looking at things from their point of view, why do you think the WWE frowns on employees being big wrestling fans? You know, honestly, I think it's because Vince refuses to admit that he runs a wrestling company. He wants to be this corporation mogul like Ted Turner or Donald Trump, and he just refuses to admit that the money that he makes and the reason why he's probably a millionaire is because he runs a wrestling company. You know, it's utter craziness. I think he's rebelling from what his father started. It seems like Vince Sr. was content with the fact that he ran a wrestling promotion, and that was okay for him. And I think that's what Vince Jr. is trying to rebel against. Honestly, that doesn't really make sense to me. I would want my employees to be big fans, because then their enthusiasm would shine through in the product. The people would buy that product because of that, and they would keep coming back for more. And I can't understand why Vince doesn't see that. I want my employees to love what they do. This is just not another 9-to-5 job, and it's kind of sad that they don't. Question number 20. Do you think the WWF has ever done a good job at booking tag teams in a meaningful way? If so, what time period? I think they have. And I loved from 99 to 2001, the whole TLC matches really did it for me. I loved the Hardys, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys. Also in 2004, you had good tag teams. You had Los Guerreros. You had Haas and Benjamin, the Dudley Boys. You had London and Kidman. And to an extent, you had Jericho and Christian. I didn't really think they should have been a tag team, but they did really well together. Otherwise, here and there have been good tag teams since and before, but it's been pretty hit or miss. It's never been solid. Question number 21. What is the best non-main event feud the company has ever produced, and why? Here again, I really loved the TLC matches of 2000. I loved Los Guerreros versus Benjamin and Haas in 2004. I thought they were, not only were they engaging storylines, but all of the wrestlers were really good in the ring, and I was always excited to see them face off. Question